Okay, guys, can we start? Am I audible to all of you? Can you just message me? Is my voice is loud and clear? Okay, all right. Okay. So what we discussed last day, we were talking about the theory of social facts, right? So we just started off with Emile Durkheim, and then we have discussed about theory of social fact. So in this session, what we are going to do is we will be discussing the next theory that we will move to theory of division of labor. Guys, any doubt from the previous session, social fact, or anyone can quickly summarize that? It will be great if you can do that rather than me doing it. If you can do it, it will be great. Yeah, Sayanti, go ahead. Just 1 minute. Just allow me to unmute all of you. Yeah, Parshuram, you did last time already, so let her do it. Yeah, Sayanti, go ahead.
Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Emile Durkheim talks about he is of the functional perspective, and
Just talk a few things about the introduction, like
social fact.
Not social fact in general. Emile Durkheim, 2-3 points about the introduction. I don't want too much to talk about. We discuss many things. So most important points in introduction, then come to social fact, and briefly in 1 or 2 minutes talk about social fact also.
The similarity is they both talk of the society approach, that is the macro approach. They have the evolutionary approach towards it, and in Durkheim they gave a scientific approach, that is quantitative methods, statistical, and scope of study of the Durkheim is about social facts, considering everything as things. They are concerned about the objectivity. In social, so if we talk about social facts, anything that we see in the society, any social phenomena or any institution like family, religion, marriage, etc., everything is referred to as social fact.
That's a general understanding of social fact. Just immediately, quickly talk about the definition of social fact.
Ways of acting, thinking, and feeling which are external to individual and endorsed with the power of coercion, by the reason of which one controls over the individual. That is referred to as social fact.
Yes. Okay.
And in characteristics, we talk about 4 characteristics, that is externality, constraining power, individuality or independence, or generality.
Okay.
Social fact is sui generis, that is unique, came into existence of its own.
Yes.
Anything that will come into existence with the autonomous development of society. It has its own life.
Yes.
Rules for observing social fact. That is, first rule is of observation, that is thing, because wanted to make
studying social fact. In that, first rule is rule of observation.
Yes. Rules for studying social fact. Yes. First is observation, that is thing, that is everything is, they talk of the concept of collective representation, that is concerned for objectivity, that is can't see as anything as physical object, but can feel it through symbols, like temple is the symbol for religion, like that.
Okay, just one minute. This I will explain once again. See, guys, what he's saying in the first rule, that is the rule of observation. What he's saying is social facts need to be observed as things. Now, his stress on observing social facts as things, just like any natural object, shows his concern for objectivity. Okay, so we discussed already in introduction, and we discussed in the positivist discussions and everywhere related to the concern for objectivity and the use of scientific methods, and wanted to make it similar to natural science and the initial approach and everything of Durkheim. So this attempt to consider social facts as things itself shows his concern for objectivity, because it is very difficult, right? How can you consider a social phenomena like a religion or a family or a marriage as things like a physical object? When you say natural science deals with matter, it study matter, so it is very obvious, and you can use scientific methods, and you can predict the behavior, and you can ensure objectivity, because there is no personal attachment or bias which is going to be involved when it comes to the analysis. But that's not the case in sociology. Human beings studying human beings studying the social phenomena. So there is a possibility of bias, and it is very difficult to consider it as things. But Durkheim further gave the clarification that it is difficult. But what you can do, you can see that in terms of collective representation. So you see the symbols or all these things that, just like Sayanti discussed now, the examples like temples and all these masjids or idols, if you see, these are the collective representation. These symbols or these collective representation indicate or represent the existence of that particular social fact. In this context, it is actually a religion. Similarly, we have discussed about other examples also in the last session. So this one point itself can be picked as a question. And if you see the previous year paper, 2-3 times they have framed the question exactly from this rule. Though the question is from social fact, they picked it from here. The question was something like this: social facts need to be considered as things, discuss, comment, critically analyze. So I hope you got the content to answer this. Not only from here, you need to start with the introduction, then with the definition, and then with the characteristics, and then come to this and also proceed further. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Sayanti, continue that. Rest of the rules.
Second rule is of rule of distinction. That is difference between the normal and abnormal. Like Durkheim states that crime is normal to some extent. That is.
Yes.
Next is the rule of classification. That is the general or specific. Example, difference between institutional and non-institutional. Like former is accepted in today's society, and the latter may be accepted in future. Like today, marriage is there, and latter it is live-in relationships. Next is rule of explanation. That is through generalization theories, we explain that cause and function should be different, which are supposed to be testable or replicable in this.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So, guys, when we are going to discuss the other theories, for example, today we are going to discuss about division of labor. So you have to see division of labor as a social fact, obviously. So you need to see this theories or the studies as a demonstration of the use of the concepts that he have discussed. Okay, so for example, when he discussed about rules of explanation, what did he say? He said you have to make proper theories. And what kind of theory you need to make? It should be a causal functional theory. That means cause need to be explained first and then go for the function. Never make it same, because cause may be different and the function may be different, but most of the cases, most of the functionalists will consider both as the same. I've given you the example. If you see from economic perspective, what is the cause of division of labor? If I ask you what you know about division of labor is what you're going to tell, right? You will tell that what is the function? It gives you profitability, it gives you efficiency, it gives you productivity, and it gives more profit. So you will also tell the cause connected to the function it provides, right? You will tell that it came into existence to enhance the productivity or profitability. So what happened here? The cause and the function became same. That situation should not be there. According to Durkheim, it is not necessary that the cause and function is same. Sometimes it may be, but it is not necessary in all the cases. So you have to try to make a distinction between the cause and the function. If you make it similar, that situation is what we consider as illegitimate teleology. So most of the problem with the functionalists so far is the problem with illegitimate teleology. They are considering the cause and function as the same. But when it comes to Durkheim, he tried to avoid the illegitimate teleology by separating cause and function. So if you see Durkheim's theory, this is again the fundamental principle, the core principle. This is how you need to write your theory also when you're writing in the exam. You see the first part as the cause, and in the second part, he explained the function. In the theory of division of labor also, we will be discussing the cause first, and then we will go ahead and we'll discuss about the function. Okay. So again, when we discuss about religion, we will see the similar approach. This is what you mean by causal functional explanation. Cause, then function. Keep it separate. Don't make it together. What is the problem? Illegitimate teleology. So in order to avoid illegitimate teleology, now onwards, you're going to see this word again and again, that Durkheim tried to avoid this issue in functionalism, which was a major controversy or major criticism in functionalism, by explaining or separating or delineating or differentiating, whatever word you can use it. It's up to you, what cause and function. Okay, so this is what we are going to see today, separation of cause and function. So first, now what we are going to do, we are going to do division of labor. So guys, there will be 4 parts. The first part will be, okay, let me just write it rather than just talking about it. So we are going to discuss the theory of division of labor, right? And in the first part, we will go for the definition of the theory. And this is going to be a very simple definition. But guys, for every theory, you will be writing an introduction, right? If they're asking about the theory of division of labor, you will be writing introduction. And I'm not going to talk about introduction, as we have already done with this in detail in the last session, right? Whatever we have discussed in this recap session also you can incorporate. Because what we are going to discuss, division of labor, it's actually a social fact. So what did we discuss? Social facts are sui generis. That means division of labor is also sui generis. What does that mean? It comes into existence its own with the autonomous development of society. So at one point of time, when society developed, this is a demand of the time, and division of labor will automatically come into existence. Okay, and it is functional because he is obviously a functionalist, so he will try to identify the function. Okay, so let's go with the definition first, and then we will go for the causal analysis, and then we will go for the functional analysis. And then one more rule we have discussed, guys. Can anyone just quickly tell me about that rule? That I need to be very clear in this. It is like a distinction between normal and pathological form, right? So the rules of distinction. So what you need to do is you need to discuss the division of labor in normal situation. So normal situation, you discuss all these things. Normal situation, it is functional, but there may be some abnormalities. So you also need to talk about the abnormal form or the pathological form. So this is how we are going to write it. Now, if there is a critical analysis question, even if there is no specific critical analysis question, if it is a long answer question, still you will go for the CCR approach from here. Okay, so from here, you talk about the contribution, then you talk about the criticism. Criticism, you will divide into general and specific. How Durkheim is generally criticized, what are the specific criticisms, everything we cover, just like what we did in case of Marx once we complete all the theories. And then we end with the relevance of Durkheim. So guys, let's start with the definition. Now, what is the definition of division of labor? It's very simple. It's a common definition only. There is nothing difficult like social facts or anything. What is division of labor, guys? There is an activity which you need to do. So it is nothing but splitting up of activity into number of parts. And what will be done? It will be undertaken by more than one person, 2 or 3 or more than that. That's what you mean by division of labor. Something which can be created by one person, but with the time when the society developed, what happened? Division of labor comes into existence. So it is nothing but the splitting up of activities into number of parts, and which will be undertaken by more than one person. So that's what you mean by division of labor. So the definition is quite simple. Now comes the most important part. So he is going to discuss the cause. Okay, that means causal explanation of division of labor. Now, guys, they will ask you one 10 marker. You can see in previous years, they have asked this question repeatedly. Something called as organic solidarity and mechanical solidarity. That concept we'll be discussing here. And something we have discussed as similar in Marx and Durkheim, that the use of evolutionary approach, we see that in this theory. Okay, so first we will talk about this organic mechanical solidarity. With that, you will also understand how he used the evolutionary perspective in this theory. Okay, similar to Marxian theory of mode of production. Okay, now to discuss the cause, what he did is he conceptualized a traditional society. Okay, so he conceptualized a traditional society. Now, listen very carefully, it's just like a story only. Understand it, and then things are going to be very simple. I'll make it into a block diagram. Just remember that mindset, that thing will be enough for you. You don't want to mug up whatever I have given in the PDF. You can make your own explanation with the diagram that I'm giving you. That block diagram itself is going to explain everything. Okay. So in traditional society, then he talk about the characteristics of traditional society. What are the characteristics of traditional society? Like population is very less. People are alike, means people are same. People perform the similar occupation. Even like traditional society, if you see, there are no complex works or anything, right? People perform the similar occupation. There is no competition and all those things. Then what he says is, here people live in bands. Bands means in clusters, right? So here some people will live, here some people, or maybe in different villages or segments, whatever word you want to, you can use that. Okay. So in this system, in this society, people live in bands, and there are not much no interaction, because there is no transportation facility or any such facility, right? So no interaction between the bands. That means people in one segment are connected. Between segments, there are no connection. So between segments or between bands, there are no connection. So this is the society. Okay, now here in this society, the norms and values are very strong, and you need to use this term, guys. When he says norms and values are very strong, your obligation to society is very much important. You have to follow the norms and values in the traditional society. That means in Durkheim's word, he says the collective conscience. What is conscience and all? This is something which you need to study in your ethics also. They have asked this question, conscience, 5-marker in your 2014 paper. Right? So collective conscience means the society's conscience, right? The collective conscience is very strong. Or you may see this word conscience collective. This is not consciousness, conscience collective. Okay, collective conscience or conscience collective, both are same. You anyway, I always use this, so you also use the same, collective conscience. But when you're reading, in case if you're reading Wajiran class notes or anything, you may see conscience collective. That's a both are same. You Durkheim use both. Okay. So the point is, traditional society norms and values are strong. People conformity to norms and values are strong. The obligation to society is very strong. People are committed to society. People follow the norms, and the collective conscience is very strong. Now, how is it ensured? It is ensured through repressive laws. So in traditional society, the laws are very strong. Repressive laws. You make some mistake, you will be punished very heavily. This is the characteristics of traditional society. That's why this bond is there. This collective conscience is so strong. This society is what Durkheim terms as what solidarity? Mechanical solidarity. Now, there is a solidarity among the people, but it is mechanically ensured, right? How mechanically ensured? You have to follow the norms and values. You have to follow. Otherwise, the laws are repressive and you're forced to follow. So this is a mechanical solidarity, like you say, mechanical love, or you're studying mechanically, right? Somebody is forcing you to do that, right? So this is what I mean by mechanical solidarity. Now, with time, this is evolutionary perspective, right? With time, population will increase, right? Population will increase. This situation is what he understands as, okay, I can put it in another word, volume increase, right? Volume increase. When volume increase, what will happen actually? The area remain the same in the, let's say, in a square yard or square feet or square kilometer. When the population increase, what can you say? The density is increasing, right? This is with respect to the normal density, but Durkheim also used the word moral and material density is increasing. Out of this, moral density is more, moral and material density is increasing. Now, guys, material density means the material things, right? The advancements in tools and techniques and all these things are coming. So you are now the transportation facilities and all those things are coming. The new advancements, the tools and everything is coming. That's what we mean by material advancements, right? So when the population increase, volume increase, density increase, moral material density increase. Moral density increase means, now imagine, let's suppose in this class, we have only 5 students. Suppose we have only 5 students, then it can be very informal. I don't want to keep you all mute like this, right? I can allow you to speak in between also, because there won't be any problem, right? Even no one of you will face any problem if there is only very less number of students. So that means the norms and values in the class need not be that strong when there is few people are there. But when we have so many students like this, if I keep you all in unmute mode, then what will happen? There will be a total chaos. That's why we are doing it, right? So that, what does that mean? We need to have some stricter norms and values. So the point is, when society develops, when more and more people is there, when the interaction is more population is there, we need more and more norms and values which define the relation, right? So automatically the situation is what you call as moral density increases. More and more norms and values, like how you behave with women, how you eat in public, what kind of dress you wear, and all these things will develop, evolve, right, over a period of time. So when population increase, these things will happen. So that is what you mean by moral density increase. So this is just one dimension to explain this part. Now what will happen is, there will be interaction between people in different segments or different bands. Why? Because of the advancements in material condition. The material density is also improving. So the situations are changing. There are advancements which are happening. So there is an increased interaction between the segments or the bands or the other society as well. Okay. So what will happen is, now listen, this is the most important part, guys. This is where actually he explained the course. This is the one single thread that you need to write in your answer. So let's say here there is a doctor. Let's say this is a doctor. So all the people are dependent on this doctor for anything, right? This is a traditional setup. If you are in a village, you will also understand. If there is a doctor, all the people depend on that person, whether it is simply a headache or a fever or a even with a very strong case also, you will first depend on that person, right? But then what happened is, when you have interaction, there is a better person here compared to this doctor, then what you will do is you will try to shift to this person. Yes or no? Right? This will happen. So what will happen is, when there is an interaction, I could use this word, access to activities performed in other segments. When there is access, before there was no access. So then this guy had no problem. Now there was access to activities performed in other segments. So what will happen is, there will be a struggle for existence in the present occupation. Now listen this word very carefully. When the population increase, when the material density or advancements are there, when there is access to activities performed in other segments, there is a struggle for existence in the present occupation. Now you can consider our case also, right? Let's suppose you are, this is your situation, right? You are in this village. Let's say there is a teacher here and who's teaching sociology, and you are from that village. You don't want to go to Delhi, or you don't want to go anywhere, and you are supposed to go to this guy. But now corona or whatever it is, maybe you are a female, but you don't want to go to Delhi. In this situation, now all the Delhi teachers are coming to you. You can attend online. Now there is an access. So what happened with this guy? This guy will struggle. Or even sitting from Kerala, you are attending my classes. All of you are from different background, right? Different areas. So still, that means what? This person. Now the question here is, when there is a struggle for existence in the present occupation, or when there is access to activities performed in other segments, people will think of the other possibilities. So the struggle will increase. And the logical conclusion of this is, the fittest survive. Can you see what I'm writing? Is that clear or what? The fittest will survive. And what about the now here, who's the fittest? This guy, right? Here, this guy is the fittest. He will survive. So what he have to do, if he need to survive, he cannot now become a general doctor, because everybody will rely on the other person and they will shift to the other person. So he have to now specialize. So he will now specialize into like eye specialist, or a ENT, or a skin specialist, or a heart specialist, or something like that. So what will happen? The specialization will come. The specialization, this occupational specialization, is what? Division of labor. So simple, guys. Things are very simple. I'll show you in a block diagram. So first you need to talk about a traditional society. Okay, so here I'm not writing, you need to explain it, like very less population, people are alike, people live in bands or segments, etc. That's the first block. And then population increase. Okay, now that means volume increase, moral and material density increase. Okay, and then what will happen? Access to activities performed in other segments, right? Now, access to activities performed in other segment, then what will happen is, there is a struggle for existence in the present occupation. That is your next block. Okay, struggle for existence in the present occupation. What it will lead to, the logical conclusion of this is, fittest survive, right? And the unfit create, right, specialization, right? So this is what, now these two you can put it, and this is actually the reason for division of labor. So guys, just remember this only. So first talk about traditional society, like people are same, population is very less, people live in bands and all those situations. Population increase, volume increase, moral density, material density increases, access to activities performed in the other segments, that lead to struggle for existence in the present occupation. The logical conclusion is, the fittest will survive and the unfit create specialization, that lead to ever increasing occupational specialization. That's the cause of division of labor. So in simple terms, if I ask you what is the cause of division of labor, cause of division of labor is this for Durkheim: struggle for existence in the present occupation. Why there is a struggle? Now people have access. Earlier, people don't have access. Let's say you are from Bihar. You need to depend on that person for sociology, especially if you have some other constraints, like you don't want to go to Delhi. If maybe you have a problem with the climate, or you don't want to stay in a hostel. Right now, you can attend any sessions anywhere, right? So that is what actually happening. Did you guys got this? Is this difficult? This is what, guys, in sociology, did you face any problem in any of the theories? Only the name of the theories looks difficult and people make it difficult. It's only if people make it difficult. Otherwise, theories are very, very simple. Function is even more simple. There is nothing to discuss only. We are done with the theory. Is there anything like theory, right? Is this a theory, right? Most of you are from science background, right? What all things we have learned even in our +1, +2 at that age. Now, if you compare that, is this a theory, guys? I don't think so, right? There's just a commonsensical understanding, and that's a criticism for sociology. That's why I always told you in the beginning, you will thank yourself one day for taking sociology as your optional. Because it's so simple. There is nothing difficult in this. Later, you won't forget those things even if you want to forget, right? So hope this explanation is very clear to all of you. Just with this diagram, I hope we can explain. So this is what the theory is. Yeah, that's what that's what the thinkers area, we are very strong, and I'm expecting that once we are done with this, you also need to be very strong, because theory, all the questions, most of the question you'll get from the theories. And if you're good in thinkers, if you understand the perspective and the way you need to put it, the entire paper one is going to be so simple for you. All right, so that's about the first part. Now what we need to do, we need to go with so the course is done. Now we need to go with the functional explanation. Now, guys, functional explanation, this is again very simple. What he do is he conceptualize a modern society. So this is actually related to a modern society. So in modern society, what he says is, now there is a change in situation, right? More number of population, and the norms and values are not that strong. Collective conscience is weak, right? So this is how you need to explain. They will ask you, population increase, norms and values are weak, or the collective conscience or conscience collective is weak. Now the laws are reformative or restitutive. Reformative law, that's what we follow, right? Not repressive law. Repressive law, like if you see Saudi Arabia and all, those are examples of repressive law. You are afraid to do certain things because you know you will be done on the spot, you're finished, right? But that's not the case here in our society. Our society, we consider it as a modern society, so we need to reform the criminal, right? We don't want to, we need to give a chance to him for the reformation. Now, because of this, the situation is what we, this is a situation, okay? Now, in this context, in this society, there is a force which holds the individual together. What is that force which holds the individual together according to Durkheim? It is a division of labor. Now, why it is division of labor? Guys, there is a very famous statement. I'll just tell that statement, and then you need to write that in your answer. And with that, you can understand also. We seek in others what we lack in ourselves. Simple. You don't know sociology, so you are with me, right? So that's how it is, right? In the modern society, we cannot get everything. We need to depend on others, right? So there is an interdependence between people. That's not the situation in traditional society. So the interdependence is so huge in modern society. So the statement, we seek in others what we lack in ourselves, associations are formed wherever there is a true exchange of service. That's actually the function of division of labor. One more statement I'll give you. While we like those who resemble us, we are also drawn towards others precisely because they are different. Don't take it in a different meaning. It's like this only. We like those who are similar to us, like, right, you understood, right? But we are also drawn towards others who are different. That means different means they can offer you something different. So we will depend on them, right? So we are also drawn towards others precisely because they are different. We are expecting that they also can do something for us. So in modern society, division of labor integrate people. This is a function of division of labor, because otherwise there is no integration, right? Population is huge, norms and values are weak, collective conscience is weak. It's a reformative system. People are so individualistic. You think about yourself, I think about myself, people think about themselves, right? So this society is based on what kind of solidarity? This solidarity is organic. Why he named it as organic? Just like organs in our body, all are interdependent. Similarly, in the modern society, people are interdependent. No one can do everything alone, right? People are interdependent. This situation is what you can consider as organic solidarity. There is a solidarity, it is organic solidarity. This interdependence is created, and this interdependence is functional also. What is a function? That lead to integration. And also write this statement: we seek in others what we lack in ourselves, and associations are formed wherever there is a true exchange of service. Also, the other one, if possible, right? This is a first function. What is a function? Integration. Now, the second is very, very important. Second function, now listen very carefully. What Durkheim says is, this gives you autonomy to produce. Now, what you're doing, you are specializing. You are specializing in one area. When you're specializing in one area means you are the master in that area. That means you're getting complete autonomy in that area. If you're a cardiac surgeon, means you are having complete autonomy in that area. If you are a head in that hospital, you are getting the complete autonomy, right? What does that mean? If you are specializing, it giving you much needed freedom to become autonomous, right? So specialization is also giving, or this division of labor is fulfilling yet another function of granting the individual much required autonomy to produce. Now, guys, can you contradict this with anything else you have learned so far? This point, alienation. Yes, good point, Swati. Swati, are you a student of this batch or the previous batch?
So I was the student of, I think last year I had joined it, but this time I'm taking it seriously, like attending all the classes. And
Okay, all right. Because quickly you said alienation, that's why I got a confusion. All right. So, guys, how it is opposite to alienation? What Marx said division of labor leads to alienation. How? It hinders your creativity, right? It hinders your creativity. Otherwise, you could have created everything, and it hinders your creativity, and that lead to alienation. But what Durkheim says, division of labor is granting you much required autonomy. Now, about this also, will you be able to connect it with Marx? This is what they will ask you: compare and contrast, or make a what is the difference between Marx theory of division of labor and Durkheim's theory of division of labor. Durkheim talks about integration between people. Marx talk about conflict. Which cooperation? Antagonist cooperation, guys. So here organic solidarity or integration, there it is antagonist cooperation. Here it is autonomy, there it is alienation. Are you guys getting the point? This is how we need to make the interconnection. Guys, theories you can learn even from the textbook, but these are the things that you need to learn from the class, and this is what actually pick you, fetch you the mark in the actual exam. You see some columns in some textbooks, that is not actually going to help you without understanding this concept. Okay, so I hope you got these 2 points. Now, otherwise, if you're getting a compare, contrast, or a difference question related to Marx and Durkheim, you can talk about perspectives, you can talk about methods, and so much of things you can take. But these 2 points are the thread. One talking about integration, other talking about conflict or antagonist cooperation. One talking about autonomy, the other talking about alienation. Okay, so that's about the function. Now what we need to do, we need to go for the 4th stage, that is the pathological situation. I think that I can explain with the PDF, guys. I'm just done with this, so much of explanation. So, or quickly I'll tell you, there are 3 situations. There is anomie division of labor, there is inadequate organization, there is a forced division of labor. Okay, anomie division of labor means, anomie means it's a state of normlessness. This is what anomie, that means you don't follow norms. If I ask you to keep quiet here in this class, that's a norm, right, of the class. You just keep on talking in the class. You just unmute yourself all the time, and then that will create all the problems in the society. That's what normlessness. That situation is what anomie situation. So in division of labor, how can it happen? You are not following any norms. Let's suppose you are a doctor, or you are doing any business, right? So you go for fake advertisements, and that you do this and it will happen. Like last day we discussed about hyper reality. So that's the kind of normlessness. Okay, that's what anomie division of labor. That lead to unnecessary competition, and that's not functional. That situation, division of labor, is not functional. Second, this is anomie division of labor. First form of dysfunction or pathology. Second form is inadequate organization. That the name itself will tell you, right? If the work is not properly organized, that create problems. Okay, inadequate organization. That we can see from the PDF in detail. Third one, forced division of labor. That means you don't want to do this, but you're forced to do this. Like you want to become an engineer, but you're forced to become a doctor by your family. So then what will happen? See, this will create problem, stress and tension. So you cannot do good in your job. So in case of division of labor, it is not that you only get a specialization. It is also very important that it should be in an area of your competence or where you can actually work on, right? So all these are required. So this I'll discuss again with the PDF. So far, any doubts, guys? This is about division of labor. People will make it very difficult. Theories are very simple. Never be bothered about any theory. We will not make any. There is a very famous, in fact, my mentor also, not in civil service, in another area. He always tells that if you want to impress someone, make it complicated. But if you want to help someone, make it simple. I don't want to impress any one of you, and I'm not going to get anything with that also. So I have my own other areas to do anything what I want. So this is very simple. With all the theories we have done so far, right? Even more, whatever is going to come, those are going to be very simple. Maybe you will face some problem in parcel. Only one theory, that social system, maybe. But otherwise, it's going to be very, very simple. Okay. Any doubts so far, guys? If not, we can go with the PDF.
Sir,
Tell me.
Sir, so can we also consider this globalized society and pre-globalized society? So if we consider before globalization, we can talk about the nation states which are in bands, right, segments. Only post-globalization, we started depending on other countries for exports and imports, and all this happened. Can we compare that in this case?
What do you want to compare with this?
No, if there is a question that coming,
what kind of question?
Relating with this theory, sir.
Relating this theory, what question?
Yeah, my question is he talking about the modern society that he is talking about? Is it post-globalization society?
No, Durkheim was never there in post-globalized society, right? Durkheim was writing in 1800s and 1900s. So there is no question of you asking post-globalized. He never talked about post-globalized society, but he's generally talking about a modern society. Modern society is, when we discuss the age of enlightenment onwards, is actually a modern society. From post-industrialization, if you mean to say post-industrial society, then it is correct. He's talking about post-industrial society.
I meant post-globalization.
Post-globalized, anyway, it is not the case in this particular theory, but you can explain with this theory anyway. It is also similar to mechanical and organic solidarity, right? But Durkheim was talking about post-industrial society. That's what you consider as modern society.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I asked. So we can explain that with this, right?
In case if it is asked, but the chances are very rare that it will be asked in that context.
Okay.
But you can take as example when you're writing mechanical and organic solidarity if you want to. Maybe your one or two line.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so guys, will you be able to answer these questions? Just look into these questions. Yeah, I'll explain the statement now. Organic and mechanical solidarity, direct one. What is division of labor? Discuss Durkheim's concept of division of labor. Perfect. What, according to Durkheim, is the relationship between individual and society? Discuss in the light of his theory of division of labor. Now, this is the one which I discussed towards the end related to autonomy. Individual, while becoming more autonomous, comes to depend more heavily on society. Now, when will you become more autonomous? When there is more division of labor. When there is more division of labor, what will happen? That means more specialization. That means you're dependent on many others, right? So that is what all about this sentence. When you're becoming more and more autonomous, you have to depend more on society. You have to depend more on other people for your survival. Discuss the statement in the light of Durkheim's theory of division of labor. So, guys, again, I repeat, there are 4 stages in which you need to explain the theory. First stage will be the definition, second, the causal explanation, and then the functional explanation, and then the abnormal or the pathological form. So let's start with the definition. But before that, guys, I have not incorporated too much of introduction here, maybe 1 or 2 lines, but you need to add that from the previous theory. It depends on the demand of the question. Okay, if it is 10 marker, you don't want, you can directly jump onto the question. If not, manage it accordingly. Okay, so according to Durkheim, society is sui generis, and you know what is sui generis, right? And the individual consciousness is determined by the collective conscience. Collective conscience is nothing but reflected in the form of various social facts. Thus, Durkheim gives primacy to society over individual. At the same time, the maintenance of social order or the integration of society is the dominant concern in Durkheim sociology. Individual is bound to society in various ways and with the intermediation of different social facts. Durkheim's study of division of labor is one such attempt to identify the social states which binds the individual with the society. Durkheim observed in modern society where heterogeneity, complexity, and differentiation is found, what holds the society together, right? It's very common question, right? It's a very strong question, right? In this society, how we are together, guys. It's that itself is a question. You are from somewhere, you have never seen me, right? And then still we are together, and we are discussing so much of things. So this is like, that question is very much valid. Heterogeneity, right? We have never seen, we don't know each other. So complex, right? With different types of people, different region, different religion, different area. So, right? Durkheim found that in primitive society, the action of individual are controlled by norms and values of society or the collectivity. Individual is bound to behave in accordance with these norms and values. This binds the individual with the society. Okay, just before that, let me show you this diagram. Now, this itself, really, you tell me, do I need to explain the theory now? See, this diagram is enough actually, right? Primitive society, which is based on mechanical solidarity, segmentary. Now, you know what to write in the paragraph. Diagram alone is not enough, okay? You need to explain in paragraph. Then what happened? Population increase, interaction increase in material and moral density. Now what happened? People have access to activities performed in other bands. Then struggle for existence. What is the logical conclusion? Fittest survive, unfit have to create specialization. That lead to occupational specialization, that lead to division of labor. So the simple block diagram, this diagram itself will actually help you to answer the question. Now this is self-explanatory, right? Mechanical solidarity, what is actually happening here, guys? So if this is time, what is it showing? Time. So mechanical solidarity with time is actually coming down, right? And with time, organic solidarity is actually increasing. That means when society is getting more modern, organic solidarity is actually coming and mechanical solidarity is going. So these are the two diagrams. If they're asking about 10 marker mechanical organic solidarity, explain both situations using evolutionary perspective and draw this diagram. If the question is asked on division of labor, you need to write all these with, proper word limit and everything. So let's go with the definition. Class. Division of labor is splitting up of activities into number of parts or smaller processes undertaken by different persons or group of persons. Okay. Course. Now, I don't actually want to read this. This is just like repetition of the block diagram only. Durkheim examined the cause of division of labor by using evolutionary perspective, comparing primitive society with a modern society. Establishment of cause is one of the pillars of Durkheim's methodology. He emphasizes on separation of cause and function in order to avoid illegitimate teleology. Guys, this sentence should be there in your answer. Normally, I used to underline it, but I just missed it. I don't know whether in the updated PDF which is given to you, it might have been underlined. But this is, again, very important point. This need to be there in your introduction or somewhere, okay? Durkheim developed a dichotomy of primitive and modern society, and by using an evolutionary perspective, he goes on to establish the cause. According to him, primitive societies are based on mechanical solidarity. People perform similar occupation and are alike. Population is less, and the interaction between people are within a particular segment. His conception of primitive society is segmentary, where people live in bands with less interaction between different bands. The laws in such society are repressive, and people conform to collective conscience is very, very strong. With time, population within segment increases, which Durkheim referred to as increase in volume. This result into increased interaction between people of different segments. As the number of interaction increases, the moral density increases. I hope this is understood. According to Durkheim, increase in number of moral values is the representative of increase in interaction between people. Thus, he conclude as volume of population increase, the moral density increase. This result in people having access to activities performed in segments, which initiate a struggle for existence in the present occupation as increased material density and moral density lead to competition. The logical result of the situation, according to Durkheim, is the fittest will survive and the unfit will create the specialization. This result in ever-increasing occupational specialization, and then this is not over, this is also ever-increasing division of labor. Function of division of labor. What is the function? Two functions. What are they? One is integration, the other is autonomy. For delineating the function of division of labor, Durkheim develops a conception of modern society, which is characterized by a large population, high moral density, and is very, very complex. The collective conscience is low because of high material density, right? People are materialistic. People are running after money, right? So you are not concerned about what others are doing. Even you're not concerned about what your close ones are doing. So forget about others. These societies are secular in nature, and the supreme values attached to the individual. That means so highly individualistic people are. The type of laws are reformative or restitutive. In these societies, division of labor is very high and is manifested in terms of high degree of occupational specialization. In such societies, people are highly interdependent upon each other, and the interdependence is functional. According to Durkheim, it is a division of labor which induces a functional interdependence and is responsible for organic character of society. Thus, modern society is based on organic solidarity, which is due to the high division of labor. Further, Durkheim validates his functional explanation in terms of similarity and differences. In his words, while we like those who resemble us, we are also drawn towards others who are different just because they are different. In other words, we seek in others what we lack in ourselves, and associations are formed wherever there is a true exchange of service. In short, wherever there is a division of labor. According to Durkheim, modern society is based on mass production. As the needs increase, further specialization is required. In order to undertake specialization, a degree of individual autonomy is required. This is i.e., that is, an individual must be free to create. Thus, division of labor fulfills yet another function of granting individual much required autonomy, which is required for undertaking specialization. Thus, finally, he states, you see that question? The same statement is given here. That's how you need to answer it, okay? An individual, while becoming more autonomous, comes to depends more heavily on society. Thus, according to Durkheim, division of labor is a social phenomena and rejected the classical and neoclassical explanations of division of labor. Earlier, the term division of labor is coined by Adam Smith in his book Wealth of Nations. According to, just read that, guys. This is not significant here. Durkheim claimed that division of labor is social, as it is not only confined to occupation but permeates through each and every aspect of social life. Moreover, division of labor is present since ancient time, and what has changed is only the degree. Thus, he concludes that it is a social fact. This line need to be there in all your theories. What is that? When I discuss about religion also, it has to be there towards the end. When we discuss about suicide also, it has to be there. Whatever it is, X, just keep in mind, X is a social fact, whether it is suicide or division of labor or religion, whatever they are asking, which comes into existence out of the autonomous development of society and is sui generis. It is having its own existence. Finally, he claimed that the function of division of labor is not purely economic, but social. Further, Durkheim identified the abnormal form. There are three abnormalities: anomie, division of labor; inadequate organization; forced division of labor. Anomie is a state of normlessness. Inadequate organization means if the work is not properly organized, that create problem. Forced division of labor, that means if you are like caste system, right? You are forced to do like manual scavenging and all those, right? That is not actually correct. Now, this is also a very important point. What Durkheim says is, how can you solve this problem? What Marx says is, it is permanent, and the change of the mode of production, the qualitative change and the revolution is required. But for Durkheim, that's not required. For Durkheim, it is very simple. It's a temporary problem. So what is required is some ethical codes and all can solve the temporary issue. That's what according to Durkheim. And this is what Durkheim's concept of socialism. The study of abnormal form culminate into Durkheim's conception of socialism. According to him, the socialism can be based on maintenance of division of labor in the normal state by number of occupational association, which will implement some ethical code corresponding to their occupation. This will prevent anomie state, help in organizing the work, and prevent the forced division of labor aspect. So that's it, guys. That's about the theory. What I want you to do is, today I was expecting actually that you will be watching the video and come here, that I've told you already. You can watch once again, because that video which is uploaded already in the application, that is a different way, right? Now I'm spending more time in the beginning. Earlier, I used to explain the PDF each and every line. At least for thinkers, you can go with that. Each and every line is explained in detail with the session. Okay. So all the notes are given in the app or the portal itself. You can get it from there, download it, and you can take it. Take from answer writing module, which is actually attached with your course itself, the test series and answer writing module. That, even though that may not be in the correct order, but that covers many things. Okay. Okay, that's it, guys. That's about the session. Yeah. Any doubts? Guys, just give me one feedback in the application or in the website. You will get a, you can just open your application and you will see the course, take the sociology course, and then just give a feedback. That will be really helpful for us. Not only for sociology, if you have taken any other course also, do that, okay? Not only for local teachers, no, Corona have brought problem for everyone, right? Only those who have some good skill, they are surviving in the situation. Imagine the situation of many, even a taxi driver, he is also struggling, right? Not only the teachers, everyone is struggling.
So,
Hmm.
so can you again explain that Durkheim said that division of labor gives autonomy, and Marx said that it leads to alienation?
Now, what Durkheim says is, you are asked to specialize, right? So when you are specializing, you are the sole authority in that area because you are specialized. Now you becoming an eye specialist, then you are the one who's going to do in that area, right? So that means you are getting a complete freedom to do whatever you want in that particular area, right? So that is what Durkheim says, that gives the autonomy to individual to produce, right? You can specialize and nobody is there to control you. You are getting complete autonomy in that area. But what Marx says is, there is no need of division of labor. Why division of labor? Individual can create everything. When there is division of labor, something cannot be explained as your own creativity. So you are alienated. The concept of alienation, there it is different, based on different concept, but both are coming from division of labor. That's why we are making a comparison. Durkheim says, when you are able to specialize, you are the main person in that area. So you can do whatever you want in that. You are getting complete control. You're getting complete autonomy. You're free to create. Marx says, when you are given some specified area, you cannot express your creativity completely. Then you are alienated from that. So,
Okay.
then one more difference is mainly based on integration and the conflict, antagonist cooperation and organic solidarity. Okay, guys, just give me a feedback, guys. That will be really helpful. Okay.